What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Back to 12 podcast. I am RC Maxfield. Appreciate y'all spending some of y'all's Wednesday night with me. I need to get the link out real quick in full transparency. So let me go ahead and tweet that out real fast so we can get more Red Raiders in here. 3, 2, well, actually, hold on one second. Let me know your one word to that game for Texas Tech, beating a team in TCU that, in all honesty, really isn't that good, but Texas Tech does what good teams do. They cover, and that's exactly what they did there late in that game. So looking at it, we'll look at the stats. We'll look at a lot more for the Red Raiders. But first, give me your one word again to this matchup, because, I mean, there's a lot we could say, quite honestly, but we're gonna try and keep it classy, unlike TCU did there in the final. What was that, 15 seconds or so? I really don't know what was going on there with Jamie Dixon's crew, but nothing ceases to amaze me when it comes to Jamie Dixon and crew, and, well, just not being classy overall. But it is what it is. I mean, Jamie Dixon and that team probably don't make the tournament this year. I'd be upset if I was them as well. But let's go ahead and take a look, shall we, at the stats for the Red Raiders. As you can see right there, 1 of 7 to end this ball game were the Red Raiders. TCU, 4 worse, 1 of their last 11. But overall, I mean, you look at it, Texas Tech, I thought played pretty pedestrian in this one. One of the bright spots in this one is that you got Kerwin Walton back. That was huge for Texas Tech in the sense that you're looking at his stat line, only 7 points, 2 of 6 from 3. But Kerwin was phenomenal tonight. I thought at a part of his game that he really had struggled with recently, and that was first and foremost having confidence to shoot the basketball, right? Again, only 33% from 3, not ideal. But those kickouts, when they were sending double teams at JT Toppin, who was a bona fide superstar in this matchup, 18 and 14 for JT to go along with 3 assists, 2 of those coming on Kerwin Walton threes. Kerwin would do the up fake, dribble, get to the block, kick out, boom, good to go. I thought that's where Texas Tech really pulled away in the second half, is when TCU, for some reason, was sending the double at JT. It wasn't working. I didn't understand it, quite frankly. When you go look at what Texas Tech did in terms of really positives in this matchup, I mean, offensively, nothing really came when Texas Tech was not getting doubled. I mean, they were trying to force it to JT Toppin. And to be fair, it was working sometimes, but when Texas Tech went stagnant there for a while offensively, it was because they refused to send the double at JT. So it was really interesting from that regard to see what the mindset was. I didn't honestly quite understand it from a perspective of what was Jamie Dixon thinking, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess, at that point. You'll take it in terms of actually going out there and winning the game. And they covered too. You know what they say about good teams and covering and everything like that. But again, let me know your one word in the comments. We'll get back on track here. I don't even know. This is the first post game. Let me know what y'all think about this. Let me give a couple shout outs to everybody in the chat too. We got diehard Texas Tech fan. Also, RC 7055. No, it was 7157 on there. Did I have the wrong video thing? I did. I have the wrong score in the actual headline, which is probably an issue. And I can see why y'all were calling me out on that. That has been corrected. I appreciate you, diehard Texas Tech fan, on that one. Let's see. Jacob Smith, classless TCU at the end of the game. Hashtag not surprised. I mean, it is what it is at that front. I don't know why they fouled. Didn't make much sense, but whatever. And then the dunk, cool, whatever. Texas Tech still covered. It is what it is. Jay said, wrecked it. John, his word is enough. Zach says TCU is a joke of a program for doing that at the end. It is what it is. You still got the dub and you improved to 7-2. We'll even look at the Big 12 standings here when they update in just a second. Philip says win. Whistle and Doof. That's a hell of a name. Stagnant offense. You're preaching, brother. But they did change some things up in the second half, did Texas Tech, that I thought was actually really, really pivotal. Obviously, TCU sending doubles and JT Toppin just being special, right? I mean, he played 38 minutes tonight, as did Chance McMillan. Those two guys carried you when you didn't have arguably your most important player in D5, who was in a boot. And it sounds like it's all precautionary. They're playing this smart. We'll see if he plays on Saturday against Houston, a team that is really good. I think they're the second best team in the country, even if they did struggle a little bit tonight up in Morgantown. Survive, close out, finish. Those are 3 words. We've got dub as a dub. RC, any news on Jazz? No, he's out for the year. If you're talking about Jazz on the basketball team, yeah, he's out for the year with a leg injury. So he's not going to be playing. MJ, RC doesn't like doing Twitter spaces anymore. I see how it is. Well, I mean, this is a better audience. There's more people over here. It is what it is at that point. So this is a lot more fun, I think, in terms of you can show stats, you can actually engage a little bit more. It's a lot more fun over here for sure. Lee says ugly. Dizzy says you're the best, RC. I appreciate that. Mark, more post-game YouTubes would be fantastic. Definitely going to try and do that more. Actually, funny enough, before I get into the critical analysis of this game, there will not be a post-game show on Saturday after the Houston game. No, not because I'm anticipating a loss, because I'm going to my first rodeo. Okay, as my wife laughs at me in the background. Let me know what I need to expect at a rodeo, people. I am a city guy. I will, admit it. Just let me know what I need to expect at a rodeo. Okay. Just let me know, because I don't know. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. And so I kind of need some, some help in terms of expectations, I guess. Is a great way to say it. But anyway, y'all aren't here for me to talk about rodeos. Let's jump in to the analysis for Texas Tech as they won 71-57. You're going to see the stats on the screen. Also, a big thing in this game, too, for Texas Tech was the fact that TCU sucks at free throws. They really suck at free throws, does TCU. I had one of their beat writers that works for Frogs Insider basically talking to me during the game. And I tweeted out something along the lines at one point, Texas Tech is really lucky that TCU is the worst free throw shooting team in the Big 12. And he corrected me and said the country. And honestly, after tonight, I might believe him. But anyway, let's discuss Texas Tech on this one. Red Raiders did not shoot really well from 3. I mean, they shot 15 threes in the second half. As you can see right there, 40%. That's their season average. But in the first half, they did not shoot well at all, did Texas Tech. From the free throw line, they got there and need to be better, especially late in the game. Chance mixed that last one there. Elijah did, I believe, actually. But Texas Tech, in terms of the rebounding battle, it was close. It wasn't anything crazy. I thought JT and Fetty did a solid job tonight for Texas Tech, leading them in rebounding with the combined 20. Overall, the thing that stood out to me was the just night and day difference for Texas Tech in terms of the first half to the second half when it came to ball movement and spacing. In the first half, it looked like a bunch of me's were playing basketball out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever played basketball with me that's watching, but I am not fast. I am not athletic. All I do is if the ball touches my hands, I shoot it. Okay? That was it. That was the Texas Tech offense. It was stagnant as hell in the first half. And so in the second half, you could tell one of those patented Grant McCaslin second half adjustments happened, and right away, the Red Raiders went out and they started moving without the ball. One of the big moments was that Kevin Overton top of the key 3 that really propelled Texas Tech to get a little bit more momentum. And KO, thankfully, he got hurt in this one, but came back. He was good. It looks like he'll be fine to play against Houston on Saturday. But overall, I think the things that really I learned from this game, most importantly, and it's something that Grant McCaslin has talked about at nauseum. The physicality aspect was there. I thought you were more physical than TCU for a majority of the game, outside of maybe about a 5-6 minute stretch there in the first half, when TCU really got back in the ball game. But I thought Texas Tech did a really good job at doing things defensively on the perimeter. And it's not a coincidence that that was happening. First and foremost, TCU just isn't a good 3-point shooting team. I think before tonight, their game down in Orlando, they were 1 of 20 from 3. Not ideal, but they're just not a good 3-point shooting team. But Texas Tech didn't give them a lot of looks from 3 that were good looks, even for a bad shooting team, outside of maybe 1 or 2. I think that's where the most development needs to continue for Texas Tech is on the perimeter. Defensively, Kevin Overton is clearly your best perimeter defender, but overall, I think the Red Raiders have done a much better job over the past really 5 games of really hunkering down defensively and being a better defensive team, most notably on the perimeter. But I think coincidentally, that is because if you go look at the minutes and the time played together, you're seeing over the last 5 games that JT and Fetty have played a lot more in the front court together. And I don't think it's it's really one of those deals where it's like, okay, it's pretty easy to correlate why the Texas Tech perimeter defense has gotten better when those 2 guys are on the floor together in terms of JT and Fetty, because they know they can be a little bit more aggressive on the perimeter and still have that confidence that, okay, I have pretty good shot blockers behind me with length and athleticism. That's something that really stood out to me on that front. All right, let's get me back on screen here so y'all can roast me about never going to a rodeo before. Let's see. RC, if you get allergies, the horses in the hay will kick your ass. Damn. Well, all right. I'm going to have to take a Zyrtec before. Thank you for that, Stuart. MJ, you uncultured swine. Texas card and citizenship revoked. But I'm going on Saturday. Shouldn't I keep it? Like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense, MJ. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I know you probably had a beer or 2 tonight. It's okay. Stuart, I die every year I go to the Fort Worth one. Yeah, I think that's where we're going. I think we're going to the one at Dickey's on Saturday. So there's that. Awesome smell. I feel the sarcasm through the computer there. Let's see. We'll get back to basketball now and go to your comments here. Who we got? Jay Aaron. Like that Key and Pill skip. Maybe their best one. This team is not going far in the tournament if they keep playing like this. I disagree. They had 2 bad games, and one was without arguably your most important player in Darion Williams. This team is easily talented enough to make the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Now, as we all know, just because you're talented doesn't mean you're going to get there. But Grant McCaslin does a phenomenal job of getting his players in the best situations possible. If it wasn't for running into Cinderella last year in terms of NC State, Texas Tech would have made the Sweet 16 last year because they would have played Oakland in the second round that upset Kentucky. But overall, this team is far more talented than they were last year. I think that they're better shooting. I think that they have a better understanding on the defensive end in terms of what they're good at and how to really put themselves in the proper position to succeed. But I will say this, if they played like they did against Oklahoma State and TCU, I guess, but also at the same time, I could make the argument that, again, you played a game where, against Oklahoma State, you just absolutely disappeared. Fair argument there. I can get behind that, but I think it's correlated to the fact that you lost arguably your best player in D5 and then you just fell off, right? Against TCU, you covered the spread. You pulled away just like good teams do on your home floor. So yeah, overall, this was a good win for Texas Tech. Should they have played better? Yeah, sure. But what team plays, perfect each and every night? This from Bagel. Bagels are good. I'm a big bagel guy. Big bagel guy. Love everything but the bagel seasoning as well. I digress. We not beating Houston with a bad first half, so hopefully we start and end strong. I'll be honest with you. I bet Houston's a double-digit favorite, as I can't get that saying out of my mouth. But yeah, double-digit favorite. It's going to be close. In terms of a double-digit favorite, I'd probably say at least 9.5. I mean, they're really freaking good, people, and they're at home. Like, I'm not saying Texas Tech has no shot of winning, but they're going to have to play their most complete game of the year, and that still doesn't guarantee a win against that team. Appreciate your comment, Bagel, and let me know your favorite bagel in the comments below. Patrick Mahomes Glazer, nice. I was there. I got photos with JT and Kerwin, both nice guys. Yeah, every time I hear about people meeting these players and these coaches, all positive things, which is always good to hear. Who do you want to win, Texas versus Ole Miss? I hate Texas, but I hate Chris Beard. I hope both teams have a terrible time and both teams lose. That's what I hope happens tonight down in Oxford. Techno Geek 1969. That dunk was Bush League, as was the foul. Yeah, I mean, it's typical Jamie Dixon type stuff. And Logan, buddy, come on, man. Come on. You can't be coming in the chat and saying, I heard you're a massive Jamie Dixon fan after I literally began this live trashing him. But I appreciate you tuning in, my brother. Thank you. As much as I hate to say this, I will pull for Texas tonight. Michael, you don't have to put that on Maine, my guy. You don't have to put that on Maine. You can hope both teams have a terrible time tonight. Of course, nobody get injured. Just both teams have a terrible time and both teams lose. Okay? You can hope for that. It is okay to do so in this situation. Let's see. Kerwin gave up a lot of wide open looks, but it seemed he had a lot more swagger in his game. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me. Did Kerwin pass up some shots tonight that I would love for him to take? Yes. But also at the same time, I'm not worried about Kerwin Walton shooting the basketball. Like, has he been as good as he has this year or in years past, in terms of shooting the basketball? Absolutely not. But the thing is whatever makes him feel better and gets him quicker to that aspect of his game where Texas Tech has to have him in terms of when he touches the basketball, you know what he's going to do, and it's going to be lights out shooting. If that's helping in passing as well and creating open looks for his teammates, by all means, right? Do that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about what happened tonight for Kerwin Walton, to be honest with you. Real quick, I haven't asked so far. There's about 100 people in here right now. Be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Would greatly appreciate it. And hey, if you want more of these post-game lives and to be a part of the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, just like the video and hit that subscribe button for 100% free content. There's no better deal in the Texas Tech space. I can promise you that. All right, let's get back to the chat here, and I'll discuss some things about Texas Tech in this game that I thought also were positive in terms of really an aspect that I think you're going to see Texas Tech use more here later on. Let's see. Houston was 14 points favorite last year down there. Probably will be. Yeah, I think that's more than fair, Zach. Yeah, I think that they'll probably start the line high. It wouldn't even surprise me if it's like 12 points and then it ends up being around 10.5. I think that's probably where it closes. John says, everything bagel with chive and onion. Okay. I can get behind that. I can get behind that for sure, especially if it's a Shugs bagel here in Dallas. That'd be a lot of fun. Let's see. My hatred for UT runs too deep. Horns down. You can root for both teams to lose, people. It is okay. I know it's not possible, but you can hope that both teams have a bad time. Both teams come out completely healthy, but both coaches and coaching staffs have a miserable time. Also, does it change your perception of this game as a Tech fan, knowing that it's not only Chris Beard on the sideline for the Ole Miss Rebels? Mark Adams is there now too, people. Think about that. Just letting you know. Aaron, Houston only allows 48 points on average at home. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, when you play more minutes in a basketball game than you allow points to your opposing team, like they did against Utah, and obviously Texas Tech is better than Utah, pretty damn good stuff. Pretty damn good stuff. Family show, I will not say I root for. There you go. Yep, absolutely. Let's see. Did you know Fetty two-time has a little brother that recently committed somewhere? I forgot where. I knew he did. I just didn't know he committed. Good for him, though. Love to see that. Love to see guys get to fulfill their dreams and go get to play high major college basketball. It's awesome. Okay, the part that I think that's super interesting for Texas Tech, I'll get the stats back on the screen since y'all don't want to look at my face that close up and personal, I'm sure of it. The thing that stood out to me, most notably in the second half, that I think Texas Tech is going to use a lot more, because I think that teams are going to throw zones at them a little bit more, is they started running an action, and they only did it about 4 times, right? And to say TCU was running a zone is probably a little too strong of a word, but they were running zone concepts, okay? They had concepts of a zone, if you catch what I'm saying. Anyway, what Texas Tech was doing was they were running the guy from the corner to the top of the key once they had JT Toppin and the primary ball handler at the time on the right side so JT could get to his strong left hand. Who was that in the corner? Well, it varied, and I think that that's the most encouraging part. It wasn't just for one guy. It was Chance. It was KO. It was Kerwin, and you saw a lot more action at the top of the key from a guy that moved from the corner to that position to be a bailout spot for JT if he needed to pass out or if there wasn't an entry pass to JT and the primary ball handler could drop it right there. They could go into the block since JT clears out to the corner. And that's where Kerwin got a couple of his assists tonight, actually. So I think that it's going to be an interesting aspect to the offensive side of things for Texas Tech. Do I think it's going to be consistent? I know, to be honest with you, but I do think it's something that you could see a little bit more moving forward, and something that I hope Texas Tech does use moving forward, because if they do, the Red Raiders are really in a good spot to really throw different looks and feel a lot better about where they're at from an offensive perspective against the zone. And that's something that I think Texas Tech has struggled with mightily this year, is teams start off in man and then they throw a zone look at them and it's deer in the headlights type stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to use those kinds of actions. Maybe it was just a one-off and they noticed a weakness in that zone that they were running tonight. But overall, I mean, good stuff from Texas Tech on the offensive end, specifically in the second half, because in the first half, they were doo-doo. I'm just going to call it like I saw it. They could not move. They had feet in quicksand. They had no idea what a pass was. It was basically hero ball from JT Toppin. And not because JT Toppin wanted to play hero ball. It was because nobody else on the damn offense would move, right? In the second half, they changed that. That's how they went on the run. Really good stuff by Texas Tech and a lot of adjustments by Grant McCasland and crew. All right, looking at the whole total specialty stats for Texas Tech in this one, 15 bench points. You only had 2 guys come off the bench. That was Kevin Overton as well as Christian Anderson. In this one, points in the paint, you had 26. At one point in this game, you were 10 of 11 within the paint if you were Texas Tech. So think about that. Points off turnovers, 8, nothing special there. And then you led in this game for just about 38 minutes. I mean, you were clearly the better team. It was just, when were you playing with your food, right? It is what it is on that point. FedEx is playing big. Ooh, you're going with FedEx on the nickname. I like two-time. I like FedEx, but I like two-time a little bit for Fetty. I really do. Yeah, so let's see here. We got Brandon saying Mark Adams is at Old Piss. What the hell? That's disgusting. Yeah, no, yeah, it's not ideal for your mental health. That's for sure. It threw me off a couple days ago when I forgot about it, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, that doesn't make me feel good. But yeah, he's there. Let's see. Garrett says, man, CA made some freshman mistakes tonight, but the biggest bright spot was his ability to respond, made big plays late, showed lots of maturity. Yeah, he's a bona fide superstar as a freshman. And I do not throw that term superstar. I don't put it out there very often, but he is a superstar. Is he the best freshman in the Big 12? No. There's multiple other freshmen in the Big 12 that are having really good years. Most notably VJ Edgecombe down at Baylor. But Christian Anderson is easily a top 5 freshman in the Big 12 and one of the best freshman guards in America. And you're right. You know, he struggled at times tonight. I thought he over-dribbled. I thought he took the air out of the ball. multiple possessions, but he had that late three. I believe it was 62-55. And then he made it 65-60 or 65-55 there late to pull away a little bit and give a double-digit lead for the Red Raiders, where they never surrendered it after that. So it was an interesting game from him in the sense that, was it his best game? No, but I do think it showed a lot of maturity, as you mentioned, most notably the maturing aspect of, okay, I over dribbled in the first half a lot. I can play off the ball. I can make the right read. Let me make sure my spacing's right. Let me make sure I'm ready to catch and shoot. And then on the defensive end, let me make sure my best attribute as a defender is my quick feet and my length. Let's make that have an impact. Was he perfect in that regard? Absolutely not. But he's a really good player. He's a really, really good player. That's for sure. Let's see. You think D5 will play? My gut says no. I don't think he'll play against Houston. I think the next time we see D5 play is against Baylor. Again, total gut feeling, no info on that whatsoever. Just kind of how I feel right now. This next 3-game stretch is telling. If you go 1-2 in this next 3-game stretch, I think you're pretty happy if you're a Texas Tech fan. Just from the standpoint of, hey, man, it is difficult the next 3 games you have. And we'll look at the schedule here in just a second, but I'm actually going to pull up the updated Big 12 standings real fast for you guys. Let's go ahead and get this on your screen right about now. There you go. Appreciate the question, Grant. There you go. There's your updated Big 12 standings. Texas Tech is now tied for 3rd alongside the number 3 team in the country, the Iowa State Cyclones. That probably won't stay that way for a while. In terms of Texas Tech goes down to Houston, and then Iowa State obviously lost to Arizona. Arizona's one loss came obviously at Texas Tech, and you could argue that Texas Tech gifted Iowa State one of those 7 wins, and the Red Raiders should be 8-1 in conference play right now. But alas, a loss is a loss on that front. Now, when it comes to the actual schedule for Texas Tech, as we pull this up real fast, we'll come down here, and there we go. There is the updated schedule for Texas Tech. As you can see, they are on a 5-game winning streak and have won 7 of their last 8, dating back to Utah in that trip. Houston, tough. Baylor, tough. Arizona, tough. If you go 1-2 during that stretch, you should absolutely be happy in that regard. Okay. If you go 2-1, we should be talking about Texas Tech as easily a top 15 team in the country. I already think they're pretty close to it. But that is the most difficult stretch of basketball you're going to play this year, bar none. At Houston and on the road at Arizona with a game against Baylor sprinkled in there at home, that is tough. Now, you do get to play some, how do I say this nicely? Bottom of the half, let's say that. Bottom half of the Big 12 teams in Arizona State, Oklahoma State, TCU, and West Virginia after that. You should definitely go 3-1 at worst in that 4-game stretch after. So if you think about it from that perspective, they should probably go 4-3 in their next 7 games. You think about where that puts you, that would put you at 11-5 with 4 to go. And then if you go 3-1 or 2-2 in those final remaining games, you're at 13 wins in the Big 12, and that easily gets you a 5 seed at worst, in my opinion, in the NCAA tournament. And obviously you go to Kansas City, win a game, and that helps your seed line as well. Because as we know, conference tournaments only help you when it comes to winning. Losses don't matter to the committee. They've proven that time and time again. All right, let's get to some questions here as we, again, have about 100 people in here. Be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button for more Texas Tech videos. We'll be doing a lot more lives here on the channel. Love the interactive aspect of this with everybody. And yeah, hey, it's the biggest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube with over 11,500. So why wouldn't you want to join it? Let's see here. We'll go. Oh, Dylan. Rodeo, but no fishing. Yep. Never been fishing. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yep. I'm just a man, Dylan. I am just a man. Going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out since this team only has beaten 2 top 50 net teams. Yeah, I mean, the thing is they'll have plenty of opportunities for quad one wins. They're fine. I'm not too worried about it. Now, obviously, it would be better if you do upset Houston. That would be a huge win, right? But I think it's far more likely you beat Houston at home than you do down in H-Town. I mean, I think that's just that's one of the harder places to play and one of the more underrated, difficult home court environments in all of America. What Kelvin Sampson and crew have built down there in Houston. Let's see. Oh, yep, just answered this one. I think you could beat them at home, but I just have a hard time believing you can beat them down in Houston. And that's not to say that Texas Tech isn't a good road team. It's more of how I feel about Houston. They're really freaking good, man. J. Aaron, I disagree that conference tourneys do anything for your resume. The committee has proven that the bracket is already made well before the conference tourneys. No. That's not what I said, though. Conference tournament games only matter to the committee if you win. If you lose, it doesn't hurt you. But if you win, it does help you. It does. That's proven. Like that's one of those things that it may affect your seed line 1 or 2 spots, right? Like that is a proven thing. But the thing is let's say Iowa State loses to Arizona State in Kansas City. That's not going to hurt the Cyclones if they're on the verge of getting a 1 seed. What may hurt Iowa State is the fact that another 1 seed or projected 1 seed or a high 2 seed ends up winning their conference tournament and bumps them off, right? That was what would happen in that regard. But winning in the conference tournament obviously helps you, but losing does not. And the committee has proven that time and time again in that regard. Let's see. Houston can shut down teams with 2, 3, mini 4 shooters. If we bring a game all healthy, they will have to deal with 7. Yeah, I mean, Houston's just really good, man. And again, holy crap. Kansas State is beating the shit out of Oklahoma State. 78-48. My God. Man, Texas Tech really did play bad against Oklahoma State. Anyway, doesn't really matter on that front. But again, let me pull up the stats one more time for you guys on this one as get it to the right screen. There you go. 71-57 for Texas Tech as they are now tied in the Big 12 for third place at 7-2. Texas Tech led by JT Toppin, who was sensational tonight. 18 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. He was dominant down low. I thought Fetty played really well as he was inserted into the starting lineup for an absent D5. Chance McMillan was great in this game as well. I thought Elijah Hawkins was okay in spurts, but also just had some really stupid turnovers. And I'm sure he'll be the first one to admit it. You could tell Grant McCassin was pretty pissed at some of those turnovers, especially that late game pass to Chance McMillan where he could have just pulled the ball out and really dribbled out the clock for a majority of it. But yeah, overall, really good win for Texas Tech, and one where you go through a 5-game stretch leading up to this 3-game stretch that's uber difficult against 2 teams in the top 2 of the Big 12, obviously in Houston, undefeated. They're on like a 12-game win streak, I believe. And then Arizona, whose 1 loss in conference play, was out in the 806. So you play those 2 teams on the road, and then you play Baylor at home, who is coming off of a loss at BYU. They'll have one more game, excuse me. Math is hard sometimes, before they come out to the 806 next Tuesday. But overall, I think you got to be happy with where Texas Tech is at. Are they a perfect team? No, but they're headed in the right direction. Hopefully D5 and Kevin Overton can get back to close to 100% before really this back half of the Big 12 slate starts, which, if you think about it, this Houston game is the halfway point in the Big 12. So there you go. This is where you learn a lot about your team, this middle ground of the Big 12 where you have no bye week. You play 2 games each and every week, unlike previous years where you may have a week or 2 here where you only play 1 game. You play Saturday and then you play, Tuesday. You have that Saturday off, then you play Wednesday, whatever it may be. You don't have that this year. Nobody does. There's 20 league games in Texas Tech. It's going to be, really just the attrition aspect of it. Can they stay healthy with those 8 guys against a loaded Big 12, especially at the top, where, in my opinion, there's a clear as day top 4 teams, and Texas Tech is in it. I think it goes in any particular order. I'd probably put Houston number 1, but Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. Those are the clear 4 best teams. Now, am I saying that Texas Tech is going to beat Kansas at Kansas? No, I'm not saying that. But Kansas is just really, really dysfunctional, in my opinion. And they're extremely well coached, but I just think their roster's not very good. I think Hunter Dickinson is one of those guys that he's a good player, but I think he actually hurts Kansas. And then they whiffed on multiple impact guys, at least they thought would be impact guys, in the portal, most notably A.J. Storr, who is getting paid almost as much as Coleman Hawkins from a rumored report. Again, I can't confirm or deny that, but he's averaging like 6 points a game. It's not typical Kansas, okay? And prime example is them almost losing at home to not – well, they did lose at home to Houston. I was about to say and UCF, but UCF choked that one away. But overall, I think those are the clear 4 best teams in the Big 12. That doesn't mean that Kansas can't enter that and make it a top 5, but overall, I think that those 4 teams are clearly the best 4 teams in the Big 12 right now, as the second half of the Big 12 schedule is, not too far away, as the calendar is about to flip to February, and we'll only be about 6 weeks away from the madness, and the Red Raiders will be firmly in the mix. I'll be out in Vegas for that. Pretty excited about that. Pretty excited about going back out to Vegas. This will be my second time going to Vegas for March Madness. It's going to be fun. Really excited about it. But again, the news of the night, Texas Tech wins against TCU 71-57 to improve to 7-2 in the Big 12 and solidify themselves as one of the best teams in the conference ahead of their matchup against the best team in the conference and the undefeated in the Big 12 Houston Cougars for a matchup set down in H-Town on Saturday evening. All right, that's going to do it. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Let me know in the comments again if y'all want this or more post-game videos here, live videos. We can probably make it happen. Just let me know, and the easiest way to do that is by simply liking the video, hitting that subscribe button, and turning on that notification bell so you're instantly notified when I go live here on the channel. We're going live 2 or 3 times a week. No other YouTube channel in the Texas Tech space is doing that. So be sure, again, to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube for 100% free Texas Tech content all year round. And one more time, as always, stay safe and Recom Tech.